Property development is a complex process that includes the dynamic of strategic planning, construction, and marketing. It involves turning vacant land or existing properties into valuable assets, and it entails a range of activities including purchasing land, carrying out a feasibility study, designing and constructing, obtaining the necessary permits and approvals, and ultimately putting a finished product on the market. Property development offers many opportunities for financial gain, including the sale of real estate and rental income, and a combination of these two. A successful developers have a solid understanding and customer preferences, which enables them to identify opportunities, minimize risks, and produce desirable homes that fulfill the needs of the target market. Our group has chosen MBSA for local authorities. As we all know, MBSA stands for Shah Alam City Council. It was located at Wisma MBSA, Persiaran Perbandaran Shah Alam, Selangor. This council of the city is in charge of governing and running Shah Alam and has a crucial role in managing the development of the city, its infrastructure, its public services, and the overall well-being of its residents. The council was founded on 1st October 1978, following the designation of Shah Alam as the new capital of Selangor. This local authority operates under the Local Government Act of 1976 and works closely with the state government to put the rules and standards required for effective municipal management in place. And this council is headed by a mayor, and a number of divisions, departments, and units support in its carrying out its duty. And MBSA is in charge of a wide range of duties, including community building, granting license and enabling enforcement, accessible facilities, urban design, and public health. ZAINUDDIN has said the change in the land title from one form to land use to another is referred to conversion of land use. By requesting a conversion of the land, the appropriator can change the status of the land category to the needed land utilized. The main goals of land conversion are to, the first one, modify and impose the type of land use. The second one, to remove and modify the land's express condition. And the last one, to remove and apply the land's restrictions of interest. Here is a flowchart of land conversion application. First of all, the application must receive by the lands office. Then, we must file the registration. Next, the land location verification by local authorities. Then, we have to refer to technical departments for comment, and we will back to the land office. After that, Land and Mines Office ESCO had a meeting if there is required for the meet. Later, the issuance of approval and payment notice. The next one, title registration of the payment made, and the last one, the issuance of new land title will be made. A single piece of land can be divided into 2 or more sections, each of which is held under a different title by the same owner by 2020. In a development, it is crucial to have a legal strategy in place while the development is being built, to ensure that every unit of a terrace home is built on the land parcel that has been divided. For instance, a terrace house, construction must have the approval of land subdivision. These following requirements must be met before the land can be subdivided. First, an environment free from restriction on the interest to which the land is subjected. Second, a country where no written laws are enforced. Third, obtaining for the development area all necessary planning authority and state authority approvals. Fourth, there is a suitable methods of access available of right from such portion of the roads. And the last one, there are no unpaid land revenue items. For this, I also have a flow chart of land subdivision application. The first, we must submit the application. Second, the application is assessed for conformity with the building codes, that including soil data, risk map, drainage data, and site visit data. And the last application will be determined.
Assalamualaikum. My name is HANIE TASNIM binti MUHAMAD ZAMANI. So I will continue to present about type of development use. So this planned project will convert a forest into residential space. Hence, processing the land as previously described is necessary. The following steps are commonly included in the land conversion process in MBSA. So the first one is feasibility study to determine the likelihood of converting land. The landowner or developer undertakes a feasibility study. The market demand, environmental effect, structural needs, and other pertinent issues are all evaluated in this study. Next is application submission. The landowner or developer must submit an application to MBSA for a property conversion. The application frequently includes through plan, studies, and other materials that detail the intended land use. Next is assessment and role when considering the project. The MBSA takes into consideration a number of factors, including the capacity of the environmental infrastructure and community consents, to ensure that the application complies with regulation and guidelines relevant to MBSA department and entitled to review it. Next is public involvement. The MBSA may occasionally call the public engagement or consultation to gather viewpoint from the general public stakeholder. The objective of this phase are to involve the public in decision making, to consider any potential neighborhood impact of the proposed land conversion. Next is approval and condition. If the land conversion application is found to be approximate and in accordance with the relevant standard, the MBSA accept the conversion. Some conditions or restrictions, such as provision of public services or infrastructure upgrade, could be put in their place to guarantee proper growth and respect to law. And the last one is compliance and documentation. The landowner or developer must provide the necessary paperwork and any rules or specifications set forth by MBSA. This may require getting additional permit, undergoing environmental assessment, or by certain development criteria that have been established, such as the provision of public facilities or infrastructure upgrade. Next is guideline and requirement. When developing freehold land in Malaysia, specific standards and rules must be followed in order to ensure that all legal requirements for all responsible development are met. The following are the required steps that each new development must take in order to complete the project. The first one is apply land conversion. The essential and the first stage in carrying out any development or any property in this application. This application must follow National Land Court Act 828 and be filled with the District Land Office and Land Administrator. Next is apply land and subdivision. Land subdivision is the process dividing a parcel of land into a certain development area. The application must be submitted with the Form 98 form and any additional paperwork needed for the land conversion. Next is required for submission. In this stage, we have three, which are planning approval, building plan approval, and advertising for permit and developer license. In the planning approval, we have a few document plans and the form that have been required for plan permission. So the first one is Form A, planning permission. Second one is planning general 1986. Next is power of attorney. Fourth one is copy of grant or land title certified by land administrator. Next is latest land revenue and gate tax receipt. And then next, payment of planning permission application fee according to Schedule 3, Planning Control General Rules 2004, develop proposal report, and then the last one is plan approved by registered town planner. Next is in building plan. We have several technician company are participate in this specific land development, which is being proposed as a housing project. Because of this, each of the relevant technical agency has its own supporting document or form that must be inspected to confirm that proposed structure complies with their requirement in terms of safety. So this is a list of technician agency involved in this project. The first one is Tenaga Nasional Berhad, Fire and Rescue Department of Malaysia Interwater Consortium, and then Lembaga Air Selangor, and then the last one is of course Majlis Bandar Raya Shah Alam. Next is advertising for permit and developer license, APDL. The Housing Development Control and Licensing Act of 1966 outlined the following steps for applying for an APDL. So the first one is 2 copies of the proposed advertisement, 2 copies of the voucher containing detailed requirement by paragraph 1 of regulation, and detail containing the selling price of each housing unit in each development, any other pertinent information that the controller may require. And the second line is construction requirement. The project owner is required to inform the local government prior to the commencement of construction of the land development. This enables the authority to assess the site compliance for permission in connection to the building work in accordance with the UBBL. The form must be submitted is the first one is Form B, Notice of Commencement of Resumption of Building Operation. And then Form C is Notice of Completion of Setting Out. And the last one is Form D, which is Notice of Completion of Foundations. And the last one is Completion of Work and Handing Over. When project is complete, some component must be sent to the proper authorities, and there are some example of the work that need to be submitted, such as work on drainage to the relevant authorities, and second one is basic amenities, local government, and the last one is wider than 1.2 meter roadside drain. And then so that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is ANISAH binti AZIZ and I will present for the development process. Development order or development procedure is a formal authorization written from a local authority to begin developing a project. The development order is essentially an approval development plan. The One-Stop Center OSC department is known as a Malaysian Local Government Division in responsibility of administering the process of submitting and approval of the development order. The OSC department is located in each district municipal council, depend on the state. The development process adheres to the OSC main process, which include the 6 phases indicated in above. Next is for the collection of the technical information. The applicant will be recommended of the information needed, the length of the resources approval procedure, and the related expenses as part of the application process. During this stage of the development process, the local authority will notify the applicant of any adjustment that are required to minimize or offset any detrimental consequence that may be produced by the project development. Before the consultation is advised, to guarantee the principal submitting person need to submit all the paperwork and drawings in compliance with the regulatory standards and eliminate preventable errors that could extend the time it takes to get the permit. Technically, information will be gathered from external technical authorities such as POMBA, TNB, JKR and AIS Selangor in order to establish the existing state of the land that will be open to the future development. Next is the notification of the start of the construction work. OSC will send a notification to the City Council and the engineering departments that involved. To avoid the construction work commencing before the OSC deadline, the local governments must guarantee that the work is finished by the deadline. Next is a Certificate of Completion and Compliance (CCC) deposit. The local government and professional organisation must obtain a copy of the CCC that has been authorised by the main submitting person (PSP) for keeping. Before being submitted to the OSC organisation for CCC certification, the payment service provider must ensure that all the G1 and G21 forms are authorised and certified by their separate technical departments. The project is subsequently reviewed by the OSC unit and a CCC is assigned. PSP that have been certified to issue CCC should be given preference when depositing advance with the local governments and the professional organisation. Lastly is the Application Certificate of Completion and Compliance (CCC). The completion and compliance of the construction component are certified by the contractor or trade contractor and the specialist that in charge of the component. 21 building components are detected during a stage certification procedure for the CCC manufacturing system. In line with the implementation of this phase certification procedure, PSP shall notify the MBSA of the status of the completion the substructure stage construction. The PSP shall submit a copy of the appropriate certificate together with the proof of partial compliance within 14 days after the CCC or certificate issuance.
So let's just keep the time frame for the building plan approval. So the first process is building plan application, development charge report, calculation and development charge that take 2 working days. So next is the plan evaluation, site inspection and calculation report take 14 working days. So the file was evaluated and delivered to the developer to review a certification that take 14 days, and the applicator is given an approval letter and approval plan that take 7 working days. Next is the plan approval process. So the first process is building plan application that take 4 working days. Plan evaluation, site inspection and calculation of the report take 14 working days. So the file was evaluated and delivered to the developer that take 14 working days. That provide and submit OSC committee paper certificate or MITI paper to the OSC division that take 1 to 7 working days. So committee MITI local center MJKPS that take 7 to 50 working days. So next is minutes distribution or application notification that take 1 to 7 working days, and the applicant is given an approval letter and approval plan that take 1 to 7 working days. The fees involved in the building, the land tax charge determine the amount of the land included the property assessment. So assessment tax is a local property tax based on the annual rental value of a property at rate ranging from 2% to 7%. So the equation formula is assessment rate equal to annual value times with the rate percent. So the percent rate is typically determined by the council budgetary requirements by the annual expenses the council equals in the form of the administrative cost, service charge and development cost. Next is the fees involved. For the first fees involved in the planning. So the cost for planning permission depends on the types of the development. So the fees for applying the planning procedure usually taking 50 ringgit Malaysia each application. So the project is a 2-story bungalow. So the first 100 unit is 50 ringgit, the second 100 units is 45 ringgit, and the next following units is 40 ringgit.
So now we go to relevant form. Whether in hard copy or digital form, document must be retained. So here is the relevant form that is needed for the proposed project. First is drawing, which is location plan, layout plans, setting out details and also any other thing. The second one is design report, which is project brief, site and soil investigation, design concept, detailed engineering calculations and project specifications. The third one is construction records, which is detailed records of contractor, activities carried out, the test report, site problem encountered, instruction to contractor, photos and also videos of the construction period. Next is operation and maintenance manual, which is include the details, manpower, equipment, maintenance activities and also other schedule. The fifth one is performance record. So next, other than 5 that I have mentioned before, there are also a relevant form, which is CCC, Certificate of Completion and Compliance. So the CCC is a certificate that provides a final approval for the construction of a structure, of a building. It is an assessment undertaken by field professionals to determine whether the structure was finished safely according to the original design. So to ensure a full construction study, each phase of the CCC process evaluate a different component of a project. So as you can see here, I've attached the certificate of completion compliance, which is they have 2 pages. So here's the page 1 and the page 2. So finally, property development must go through a process that involves converting developed land or existing properties into a valuable asset through strategic planning, construction, and also from the marketing. Property development offers numerous opportunities, whether through rental revenue or property sales. This is because they have a full understanding of a market trends, economic variables, and consumer wants. A successful developer will be able to uncover opportunities, eliminate risks, and deliver desirable homes that meet the ends of the target market. So for our project, Majlis Bandaraya Shah Alam, which is MBSA, is the local authority in charge of the project development. So the MBSA is in charge of Shah Alam governance and administration. The MBSA is also in charge of managing the cities, in the city's roads, infrastructure, public services, and also people overall well-being. Aside from that, the MBSA is in charge of community development, also in license and enforcement, public amenities, public health, infrastructure development, and also urban planning. Next, there are requirements and guidelines that the developer must follow to ensure compliance with legal requirements for the responsible development. So the first is to apply land use conventions. The second is to apply land subdivision. The third is to submit and approve a building plan. The fourth is construction requirement, and finally the completion of work and handling is over.